Yes, so hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sébastien Giraud, I'm sales engineer for MariaDB, and I will be your presenter for the next 20 minutes. So I will present you MariaDB Platform X5. We will see more in detail what's inside, and we will explore some of the greatest value added and what are the benefits for user, customer, DBA, developer, and executive. So for the next 20 minutes, I will present you an overview of the Platform X5. Then we will discover what are the new features and the new capabilities offered by each part of MariaDB Platform X5. MariaDB Platform X5 includes MariaDB Enterprise Server 10.5 for relational use cases, MariaDB ColumnStore 1.5 for analytics, archive, and BI use cases, Maxscale 2.5 and our smart proxy, and also a quick recap of MariaDB Expand. So let's focus on this complete database solution called MariaDB Platform X5. As you can see on this graphic, MariaDB Platform is composed of several components, all provided by MariaDB. MariaDB Enterprise Server is itself including multiple storage engine and Maxscale stand on top of it in order to achieve high availability and data distribution across the different component and server of the platform. First of all, this solution is a complete SQL versatile database solution permitting in the same time to deal with transaction, relational, analytics, and document store with a transparent single entry point called Maxscale. This solution allows transparent scalability. You just need to add a transactional or analytics node without any interruption, thanks to Maxscale user interface and included capabilities. Just start with a single node, and the architecture will follow your requirements and application needs dynamically. It is the answer for any scale. This architecture is designed to offer a good answer to general purpose requirements and can easily deal with particular use cases. It's possible to use combined transactional and analytical queries in the same dataset. Those queries are all performed on the same entry point with simple SQL queries. In other words, one single solution for any workloads. As previously mentioned, Maxscale stands at the top of MariaDB platform and provide a great way to hide database infrastructure and complexity. Most of the time, applications are developed and tested with a single MariaDB instance, but production environment requires several nodes in a cluster with several nodes in order to provide high availability and great performance. Thanks to Maxscale, the application doesn't need to be adjusted or reconfigured in order to move from one to several nodes. From the application point of view, Maxscale is seen like a single MariaDB instance. Maxscale will take into account the whole architecture in order to benefit of the multi-node infrastructure performance and to ensure high availability. Also useful when moving from single node to multi-node architecture for performance and availability purpose, you don't have to change anything on your application. Just add Maxscale and a few MariaDB Enterprise Server nodes and you're good. This is a great solution for simplifying developments and administration. In addition to high availability, Maxscale is also able to perform routing of live transactions to different storage engines, depending on the pattern you previously configured, like IP address, username, and so on. In order to offer a solution for production requirements, Maxscale also offers read-write splitting, load balancing, causal consistency, and transaction replay. Let me present these features more in detail. Read-write splitting was designed to avoid locking issue when distributed transaction on several nodes of a cluster. Once configured, this feature will route the write transaction to one node and will route the read-only transaction to all other nodes of the cluster. This feature also includes a load balancing capabilities, of course. Causal consistency allows your application to query data in a consistent manner, despite the fact the data are distributed on several nodes. Transaction replay capabilities is able to replay transactions that would be impacted by a node loss or any other node issue. In this case, despite an incident occur, the application won't be interrupted at all. No TCP connection loss, no transaction loss. Also, in order to provide nowadays required features for GDPR and security compliance, Maxscale proposed dynamic data masking and database firewalling. For better performance, Maxscale also includes a query cache. Dealing with several datasets is also possible with change data capture feature. Also, as previously mentioned, MariaDB Platform main components is MariaDB Enterprise Server. MariaDB Enterprise Server adds to MariaDB Community Edition performance and availability required for production infrastructure. Achieving GDPR compliance is just easy with the key feature like enterprise audit features, also secured by default with the help of HashiCorp Vault. Your data are ciphered and can be unencrypted by unauthorized people. MariaDB Enterprise Server includes several storage engines like InnoDB, Spider, MyRox, Xpand, and ColumnStore. You can easily switch between the different storage engines and also replicate data from one storage engine to another one. MariaDB Enterprise Server also includes Enterprise Cluster Black Box and offer you easy diagnose control center. All is logged in a central point. Federation solution also allow to reach and migrate easily other databases to MariaDB. This feature allows to perform query on SQL Server, Oracle, and so many others directly from the MariaDB client, exactly like if the database were stored on a local MariaDB server. Nowadays, production databases require features like auditing, in order to track every action and request performed on your database. Enterprise backup, in order to avoid any lock during the backup process. And enterprise cluster, in order to ensure data availability and persistence. MariaDB Enterprise Server is also able to provide you analytics capabilities with the help of ColumnStore. This storage engine is a good answer when you are facing analytics, BI, and also archive challenges. Based on columnar storage, data are stored column by column, reducing disk operation required to perform each request. Also offering 90% of compression level, hard drive access and consumption are greatly reduced. On the same way, storage can also be performed on S3 storage solution based and could be used for on-premise and cloud solution. All these features reduce greatly the cost of your storage. As the graphic shows, ColumnStore is a distributed solution for both storage and processing operations. This engine enables parallel processing and reduces greatly the time of each queries, moving sometimes from several days to few minutes for the same queries. One major value added is also the capabilities to ingest data without any index to maintain. Index doesn't exist at all on ColumnStore and so doesn't have to be maintained. Also, as just previously mentioned by my colleague Steve and Hassan, MariaDB Expand allows you to achieve high-volume writing queries with ACID transaction capabilities. Thanks to distributed SQL capabilities offered by MariaDB Expand, permitting to add and remove nodes easily. Other key feature is the ability to maintain optimal data distribution also in a running condition in order to provide always the better performance. Also, of course, high availability is included and provide automated failover. Completely elastic, you can easily and quickly add and remove nodes to your cluster in order to always have huge performance at a lower price. So, what's new? What's new is in this new release. Let's focus on this subject. Many improvements were integrated into MariaDB Community and Enterprise Edition. We will focus on this slide just on Community Server improvement. Our customer requested JSON aggregate function. They are now available and help using JSON in your application without any new homemade function requirements. It's possible to aggregate several columns to JSON object, and it's also possible to retrieve all the values of column in a JSON array. Many new clauses were requested by our customer to improve Postgres compatibility, for example, and in order to simplify migration from Postgres to MariaDB. Returning feature, return the line altered by the originated command. All commands permit to keep the duplicate row when performing intercept or accept queries. Cycle combined with recursive command help to avoid infinite loop when using recursive query. Without overlaps is directly linked to application time period and permit to avoid overlaps of period of time of different inserted values. It's a great feature permitting to deal with booking in a hotel room, for example, without any additional check in the transaction before the insert. You are sure that room is booked on a good date and not overlap with another booking. It's now possible to rename an index and a column. On storage engine point of view, many major improvements were also included. For example, the integrated full support of GTID in Galera, adding many thread pool debugging variables, adding many improvement and performance increase in redo log. Performance schema was mostly improved in order to match MySQL 5.7 architecture and table. Information schema tables were extended in order to grab more thread pool monitoring values like thread pool groups, queues, and stats. Also on security side, the super privileges is now split into smaller privileges in order to dedicate roles for dealing with binlog, federating engine administration, and replication. Also, a new data type, IPv6, is now available and rely on the new API permitting to create easily new data type. It's not only a new data type, but it's a new way to create new data type according to your need. So now, let's focus on the new feature included in MariaDB Enterprise Server 10.5. In addition to the previously mentioned added values integrated in Community Edition, MariaDB Enterprise Server is now including MariaDB Expand storage engine, offering an answer to extreme scale requirements. Also, HashiCorp Vault is now fully supported. In order to source ciphered keys, your data is now fully secured. Enterprise Federation allowed to reach databases like SQL Server, Oracle, Postgre, and so many others with the help of ODBC connection. This feature can free the whole power of your application. What about performing queries on a SQL Server table directly from your MariaDB server without any ETL tool, neither any data copy or transfer from one database server to another one? No. This new feature is particularly useful for migration. As an example. Also, MariaDB ColumnStore 1.5 is now completely integrated as a storage engine. MariaDB Server and ColumnStore are now a single stack. This great improvement was required in order to simplify installation, removing many scripts, and simplifying configuration. A systemd service unit is now available in order to control the server, running status, and so on. Also, many scripts were required to manage the cluster. They are now removed and replaced by a new REST API. Also, SSH access between ColumnStore node is not anymore needed. And also, as a consequence of being well-integrated storage engine, it's now possible to perform an alter table to move one table from InnoDB to ColumnStore storage engine, for example. And last but not least, MariaDB Maxscale 2.5. A GUI is now available for setup, configuration tuning, and monitoring on a single interface. The perform configuration made on the GUI are, of course, live and persisted. We will go through the interface on the next slide. Maxscale is now implementing cooperative monitoring in order to permit multiple Maxscale instances to work together for high availability, scalability, and avoiding split brain effect. Thanks to cooperative monitoring, many instances can route queries, but only one instance will handle automatic failover and topology change. This feature relies on get-log feature included in MariaDB Server and remove the requirements of failover additional software like Keep Alive, for example. Maxscale is now fully integrated with Kafka and permits to stream data change to Kafka with the help of Change Data Capture feature. Also, Redis is now integrated with Maxscale in order to offer a shared cache solution, removing cold cache issue, increasing global query cache hit ratio greatly, and more importantly, at starting. Cache warming can be instantiated from another instance, for example, and then shared with the remaining Maxscale node. Maxscale clustering features were also increased greatly and are now in charge of ColumnStore multi-node cluster management. So many more features included in Maxscale in this new release. So let's have a look on this new interface called MaxGUI. So I present you right here just the main page of MaxGUI. This interface is showing a synthetic monitoring live view of servers, monitors, sessions, connections, and load and replication status and GTIDs. This interface relies on SSL TLS connection, of course, in order to secure user, password, and cluster configuration, and can't afford to be compromised. In the middle part of the screen, several tabs allow you to monitor active session, monitor and configure services, listener, and filter. At the left side, a two-button panel permits to switch from monitoring to configuration interface. And MariaDB Maxscale is our smart proxy, releasing the full power of MariaDB platform. It offers great capabilities with the help of so many filters. These filters available allow you to hide, cipher, obfuscate data. It's also able to rewrite live query in order to rewrite one call to another one, and change the query. For example, if a query needs to be changed on this syntax, it's possible. It's particularly useful when performing migration, for example, reducing the application rewrite requirement. And thank you for your attendees. To you, Jürgen.